Welcome back to the Guardian File, where we explore the dark corners of society and reveal the truth. Get ready because today's story comes straight from the heart of Louisiana's correctional system, and it's a wild ride of prison corruption and unexpected twists. Imagine this. It's January 2020, and we're at the Louisiana Correctional Institute for Women. What was supposed to be a simple medical checkup for a pregnant inmate turns into a shocking tale of betrayal. Meet Leandra Mark, 28 years old, spirited, with striking hazel eyes. When the doctors tell Leandra she's pregnant, the news shakes the prison to its core. How could this happen? This isn't just about an innocent love story. It raises big questions about security and safety in the system. What secrets are hiding behind those prison walls? We're about to dive into an investigation filled with corruption where nothing is as it seems. From the challenges women face in prison to the urgent need for reform, we'll uncover it all. Leandra's story is not just about her pregnancy. It's about the failures of the criminal justice system and the lives impacted by it. So sit back and buckle up as we uncover this real-life drama that's way more exciting than a regular crime movie. If you think you can guess how this story ends, think again. It's full of surprises. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any part of this shocking series. In the Guardian File, we bring you stories that make you think and feel. Now, let's jump into the twists and turns of prison life and find out what really happened in this gripping tale of betrayal. On that fateful day, Leandra Merck, a 28-year-old woman with captivating hazel eyes and a determined spirit, was serving a 7-year sentence for grand theft. Upon entering the Louisiana Correctional Institute, she had hoped to turn her life around, but the realities of incarcerated life soon took a toll on her. As she sat in the sterile medical examination rooms, surrounded by the harsh, fluorescent lights and the hum of medical equipment, anxiety crept in. Leandra had always been wary of the system and the circumstances that brought her here. Her fingers played nervously with the frayed cuffs of her prison-issued scrubs. The medical staff, led by Dr. Regina Bureau, conducted the standard health assessment, unaware that their routine check would quickly spiral into chaos. When Dr. Bureau announced the unexpected news of Leandra's 5-month pregnancy, the room fell silent. The implications of this revelation sent shockwaves through the prison walls. Leandra's heart raced. How could this be? She had been incarcerated since July 2019, and now they were telling her she was pregnant? Initially, Leandra stuck to her claim she had conceived before entering the facility, but as the gestational timeline was evaluated, it became evident that she had become pregnant around late August 2019. 1 month after her admission into the correctional facility. This cannot happen, Leandra thought. I can't be a mother in here. Dr. Bureau's expression tightened as the truth dawned on her. A severe breach of security protocols had occurred within the prison, and as a physician, she recognized that this situation represented more than just a health concern. It was a fundamental security issue that demanded swift action. Warden Kesha Jakes, a dedicated professional with nearly 15 years of experience and a deep commitment to the safety of her facility, was notified of the situation. Her sharp mind and strong resolve kicked into high gear. Warden Jakes immediately ordered a comprehensive internal investigation. This isn't just an isolated incident, she told her team. We need to understand how this security breach occurred under our watch. We owe it to Leandra, the potential child, and all of the women in our custody investigating the breach. The investigation took off with a fervor as Warden Jakes assembled her internal team under the leadership of Chief Darnell Hyo, a former detective with the Baton Rouge Police Department, they began unraveling the mystery of how Leandra ended up pregnant while serving her sentence. Let's start with her visitation records. Chief Highwell instructed his team, his intensity palpable. He understood that uncovering the truth sometimes required navigating complicated emotions in the murky waters of prison relationships. As they pored over Leandra's records, it became clear that she had no family visits since her admission. In fact, her files showed that she had listed no family members or friends as potential visitors. This detail puzzled the team, especially given the circumstances of her pregnancy. Officer Jelani Fulton, who had been assigned to Leandra's unit since her arrival, characterized her as a guarded inmate who kept to herself. The officer didn't remember seeing her interact with other inmates and said she mostly kept to herself, didn't really cause problems, but a flicker of suspicion began to ignite within Howard. How could she have gotten pregnant in isolation, he wondered. Prior to this, Leandra had been introverted and focused on her time in incarceration. Would she be protecting someone? This was the first turning point, and as the investigation unfolded further, the team decided they needed to interview Leandra about her pregnancy. At this point, she had already retreated deeper into her own world, a place forged from both fear and desperation. To protect someone as the investigation took root, Leandra's silence became her armor. During various interviews, her evasiveness raised more eyebrows. What was she hiding? Was she protecting someone? The dread of her pregnancy likely weighed heavily on her, shaping her answers into shadows of secrecy. When Dr. Bureau attempted to counsel Leandra about her options, she could see the tension etched across her face. Leandra, we need to talk about your health and the baby's health, Dr. Bureau had gently urged. But Leandra's response was defiant. No, I'm fine. I know how to take care of myself. I don't want to talk about it. Her words, cold and curt, hung in the air like a heavy fall. Throughout the skeletal room, the atmosphere shifted as discussions intensified. Warden Jakes recognized the potential for staff misconduct and reached out to the Louisiana Department of Corrections, Office of Internal Affairs, for an extensive investigation. This impacts everyone here, she reiterated during the briefing. We need to find out how our protocols have failed us. With each passing day, the investigation morphed into a daunting challenge. Why was Leandra protecting the identity of the baby's father? Her behavior suggested she might have been coerced. Dr. Bureau shared her concern with Warden Jakes, acknowledging the complex emotions wrapped up in this mystery that demanded answers. And for the moment, just shy of 2 weeks into the investigation on March 15th, a momentous breakthrough occurred. Investigators located a torn handwritten note from Leandra's cell. Upon discovery, people leaked whispering rumors, each one amplifying the tension around the warden's investigation. The note contained phrases suggesting an intimate relationship. I'll find a way to see you tonight, and no one suspects anything. A collective gasp of disbelief ensued among the team as they shared their findings. Handwriting analysis indicated that the note had been penned by someone with a higher education level than what Leandra possessed. Was there someone else involved, deeper in this web of deception? Tensions rose as Leandra's bunkmate, Kanaya Tavon, had remained cooperative only to herself, initially refusing to share information. Many in the prison began to sense something was amiss. Days later, when Tavon was offered early parole for her involvement in a nonviolent drug offense, she reluctantly aligned herself with the truth. I didn't want to get involved, Tavon expressed, worry lacing her voice. But I heard things at night, whispers about someone coming into our block when they shouldn't have been there. Her testimony added layers to the timeline of inappropriate contact, finally unearthing some light onto Leandra's situation. As the investigation progressed, it was evident that almost every crack and crevice of the facility was steeped in secrecy. Tavon recounted that the mysterious figure began appearing during the midnight count, always a mere shadow flitting in the darkness. It happened multiple times in August, she said, shaking, and always after the midnight count. Tavon's fear of staff and prisoners mixed with a battle of loyalty. She requested protection and a transfer to another facility. The level of tension in the prison cut deep as whispers spread like wildfire, gradually building an atmosphere fraught with suspicion. With Tavon's fear of staff and prisoners mixed with a battle of loyalty, she requested protection and a transfer to another facility. The level of tension in the prison cut deep as whispers spread like wildfire, gradually building an atmosphere fraught with suspicion. As more testimony surfaced, Nurse Tamari Lyman confirmed that she had observed Officer Terrell Jakes in Leandra's corridor during multiple night shifts in August. He was responding to noise complaints, she stated, but the frequency of his visits left no ambiguity. It was no coincidence. By now, Warden Jake's concerns escalated quickly. This entire episode outlined not just a breach of protocol, but a potential conspiracy unraveling beneath her feet. She grew determined to identify all responsible parties. That's it. The climax. On March 25, Warden Jakes made a strategic offer to Leandra through the district attorney's office, extending a potential incentive. Full cooperation could lead to a 2-year sentence reduction. You have a chance to change your situation, Jakes pleaded, desperation creeping into her voice. But Leandra, affirming her convictions, stood unrelenting. I'm not saying anything to anyone. This is my business, and I will handle it my way, she snapped back, her eyes blazing with defiance. The investigators faced a paradox. While circumstantial evidence pointed to potential suspects, particularly Terrell Jakes, they lacked definitive proof of any wrongdoing. It's frustrating, Chief Hayal mused in a moment of candor. Both Fulton and Jakes are adamant about their innocence. As the frustration lingered, the team knew they needed to dig deeper. On March 30, the investigation received yet another twist when Tamari Lyman disclosed a troubling incident that occurred during inventory checks. I found a missing vial of potassium chloride from the medical supplies, she stated matter-of-factly. But the list of staff with free access to the medication storage room was alarmingly small. Lyman confirmed that only 3 staff members had entered during the overnight shift: Nurse Tillis, Terrell Jakes, and Dr. Raymond Pellard. The walls enclosed the secrets they harbored, and the need for clarity intensified. Meanwhile, the investigation team received news that Terrell Jakes had previously been linked to an internal contraband network. Although never formally charged, there were unsettling rumors about his behavior and possible collusion with inmates. His connections to Leandra began to paint a larger picture. Amidst growing apprehension about officer conduct, Chief Hayal extracted electronic security logs from the central database, revealing further discrepancies. It appeared that Terrell Jakes had manually overridden the electronic locking system on Leandra's cell on multiple occasions under suspicious circumstances. As investigators investigated the options, Leandra was left to grapple with her silence and fear. A tragic turn. Then, on April 15, 2020, tragedy struck when Leandra Merck was found dead in her bed during a routine morning check at the segregated housing unit. The discovery was shocking. Nurse Tamari Lyman entered the cell at around 6:15 a.m. only to find Leandra lifeless, her body sprawled with prenatal vitamins scattered on the floor. A chaotic scene. As panic spread among the staff, the jail jumped into emergency response mode. Sadly, the attempts to resuscitate her were in vain. Trained responders arrived but confirmed the worst. Both Leandra and her unborn child had perished. What had just unfolded amid such secrecy? The atmosphere in the prison was thick with fear and uncertainty as Warden Kesha Jakes collected herself to declare a critical breach of security. Lock down the facility. No one leaves this site until we uncover the truth, she ordered sternly, the weight of the moment sinking in. The St. Gabriel Police Department was contacted, and Detective Darnell Hightower arrived to take the lead in the investigation surrounding what seemed a horrific crime. Autopsy results revealed that Leandra Merck had been induced cardiac arrest due to a potassium chloride overdose, transforming what may have seemed a medical emergency into a calculated homicide investigation. Detective Hightower understood the gravity of the situation. This wasn't an accident or a freak occurrence. This is a calculated crime that demands accountability, he stated. The presence of potassium chloride caught the investigators' attention, leading them to deduce that someone within the facility had infiltrated the medical system and administered it deliberately. Even though this shocking revelation guided their investigation toward vengeance, there were still questions about how they would navigate the convoluted web within the prison structure. If the breakthrough, days turned into restless nights for the investigative team as they methodically sought evidence. On May 10th, 2020, Detective Hightower interrogated Officer Jelani Tillis, who had access to the medical wing. As the hours slogged on, the tension in the room was palpable, until finally the dam broke. I didn't know it would kill her, Tillis confessed, his voice trembling. Terrell gave me the syringe and said it would just make her sleep for a while. He said she was causing trouble and needed to calm down. This revelation pushed the investigation forward, unearthing a dark conspiracy hidden in plain sight. The truth of what happened to Leandra Merck was beginning to unfold. 11. Arrests and charges. On May 10, 2020, Terrell Jakes found himself facing the culmination of his actions. Charged with first-degree murder and 5 counts of conspiracy, he was arrested alongside his accomplice, Jelani Tillis. The suspects prepared for their time in court as the media exploded with coverage of the scandal rocking the Louisiana correctional system. Sounds of outrage filled the airwaves, drawing the attention of advocacy groups and civil rights organizations. 12. The trial begins. The trial commenced on March 1, 2021, with prosecutor Latrice Germain leading the state's case against Terrell Jakes. Over the course of 9 days, she finally crafted her narrative, laying bare the glaring evidence of premeditation, motive, and execution in the tragic death of Leandra Merck. Witnesses who had been involved in the events leading up to her death recounted harrowing details, leaving the courtroom on the edge of their seats. Forensic experts providing in-depth explanations of the lethal nature of potassium chloride and how its method of administration was anything but accidental. At the same time, security footage revealing Terrell and Tillis engaged in conversation only hours before Leandra's tragic collapse underscored their culpability. Victim impact. In a pivotal moment during the trial, Leandra's mother, Latrice Merrick, stood and delivered a heart-wrenching statement to the court, her emotions bubbling to the surface. My daughter was more than a statistic. She made mistakes, yes, but she was trying to rebuild her life for her child. These men didn't just kill my daughter, they killed my grandchild too. They executed them because Terrell Jakes couldn't face the consequences of his actions. Her heartfelt words carried weight, penetrating the hearts of all present in the courtroom. The lack of humanity in the actions taken against Leandra and her unborn child was painful to process. Finally, on April 5, 2021, after deliberating for only 7 hours, the jury returned their verdicts. Terrell Jakes was found guilty of first-degree murder, sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Jelani Tillis, facing the reality of manslaughter charges, received a 15-year sentence. Justice was served, but the ramifications of this case would linger long after. The higher authorities had been called into question, and a wave of change swept through the Louisiana correctional system, providing a relentless focus on the need for reform and oversight to prevent such tragedies from occurring in the future. It was clear that the fall of Terrell Jakes served as a loud wake-up call to a system that had allowed corruption and misconduct to persist for far too long. As we wrap up this distressing story, it's crucial to reflect on the lives that hang in the balance when security protocols failed. The heartbreaking events surrounding the death of Leandra Mert serve as a stark reminder that human lives are often at stake when the integrity of our systems is compromised. This tragedy exposes the deep-seated corruption within the correctional facilities and the urgent need for systematic change. With each detail we uncover, we learn to be vigilant, advocating for accountability and change, to honor those who have tragically become victims of the system's failures. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into a jaw-dropping case of betrayal and tragedy within the world of corrections. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments about this shocking case. Until next time, stay vigilant and informed. This is the Guardian File, signing out. Today we uncovered a case that shakes our understanding of institutional safety to its core. The story of Leandra Mert is not just a narrative. It's a chilling representation of misplaced trust and human frailty within correctional facilities. Her life and her child's life were tragically lost because of betrayal from those who were supposed to care for her. This case begs the question, how do we ensure safety and integrity in correctional institutions designed to protect the vulnerable? When we hear about incidents like this, we must recognize that they speak volumes to the intrinsic failures of a system that operates under the burden of secrecy and corruption. The individuals we rely on to uphold law and order must be held accountable, as every misstep can produce dire consequences. As we dissect this saga, let's remember that those in power should not only be leaders, but also protectors. This case should invoke outrage and drive us to demand better oversight and transparency from our correctional institutions. In the wake of this tragedy, the unwavering resolve of the community must serve as a guiding light to overcome these dehumanizing evils. Each voice lends weight to our collective calls for reform, ensuring that stories like Leandra's become shadows of the past rather than replicating tragedies we continue to witness. So let this case stand as a pivotal reminder: we must not let the echoes of Leandra's life be muted by complacency or inaction. Each of us has a role to play in advocating for justice, policies that prioritize inmate safety, and systemic reform to end such betrayals. As we reflect on Leandra's story, we can ensure that indeed she is not just another number in the system, but a symbol of resilience and courage amidst systemic failures. It is time for us to demand accountability and reform to honor those who tragically become victims of our system. Join the conversation below. What steps do you think we need to take to prevent incidents like this in the future? Your insights matter, so drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more gripping tales from the Guardian File. This isn't just about justice, it's about ensuring that we remain vigilant to the truths that dwell within our institutions. Until next time, this is the Guardian File, reminding you that the truth matters and we're here to uncover it together.